Hello, hello, hello. Hey everyone, it is Sunshine and welcome. Welcome to the deep dive into the witch's path to recovery. I'm super excited. We do this once a month. I do open it up in case anybody ever wants to join me live on Zoom. Just FYI, you can join me any month and kind of interact and engage and ask questions. But I'm excited to have you here. We're just going to jump in. I'm going to share a little bit about myself in case this happens to be the first time that you've seen this. Again, my name is it's Sunshine, and I'm the pink-haired sober witch. My own sobriety date is October 9th, 2019, and I say that I'm a recovering alcoholic, workaholic, perfectionist, and control freak, as well as recovering from and disordered eating and codependency and childhood trauma. Yeah, a whole bunch of things. And I'm incredibly excited to continue to share. We've got a couple of these that we've already done. And y- yeah, so let's start off how I typically like to start these off. Just taking three slow, deep breaths. One more. This just kind of helps us ground and be here in the right here and the now and to be present. So if you're watching this, amazing. If you're listening to this, amazing. I'm going to show things on the screen, but don't think that you can't just put the headphones in and listen to me. Let's start, my dear friends, just by reciting the Witch's Serenity Prayer together. O divine universe, please grant me the power of water to accept with ease and grace what I cannot change, the power of fire to invoke the courage to change the things that I can, the power of air for the clarity to know the difference, and the power of the earth to stay grounded in my highest vibrational path. Hmm. Hmm. Well, my dears, we have been talking over the last couple of months about a number of the tools, a number of the things that have been created for the witch's recovery path. And one of those is the 13 steps to recovery for witch. We go all the way from 1 to 13, and there are some similarities to a traditional 12-step program, but they have really been adapted to be able to serve the path of the witch. Today, specifically, what I'm sharing with you is steps 5 and 6. Okay. Step 5, release burdens with community, and step 6, to invoke magic for liberation. And I'm not going to just share with you what these steps each individually mean, but I'm also going to share how they're different from the traditional 12 steps, right? Starting with step 5. I have recently, I mean, just spirits talking to me, and I'm called to share this. I recently had a conversation with someone that created a path, and they referred to their path as rungs on a ladder. And it got me to thinking about what that might feel like to climb the rungs on a ladder, and how if you were to step off or let go, it might be scary. And so we are still talking about steps, but just as these stones are not necessarily directly in a clean linear line, neither does each of our individual journeys need to be. You may think of those steps as a steps in a circle, steps in a spiral, but know and understand at any time that you can embrace these steps to help you on your healing journey. And that first one being step 5. This is to release burdens with community, right? I recognize that I cannot carry the weight of my past alone, and through authentic connection and belonging, I release guilt and find solace in the shared energy of my covenant allies, right? And this one was really, really important to me. There's something that I realized in my own recovery journey, and, this happened because of how potent and how strong my psychic abilities became as I stepped into recovery. I could feel the energetic of addiction, and I could feel how it wanted, with so much passion and so much force, to try to isolate us, right? And so that's one of the biggest symptoms and signs of somebody heading down a very dark and dangerous path is the habit of isolating. This step 5 is the counter to that, right? Vulnerability is sacred. Sharing your story can help to release the shame and the guilt that you may be feeling, experiencing, or holding on to, while at the same time activating healing deep within yourself, right? As I lead Circle every week, I always let folks know that there is no obligation to share, but allowing others to bear witness to your story is a beautiful thing, right? Not to mention that by sharing stories, we get to feel like we are no longer alone, right? We get to feel like we're no longer alone. Now, when it comes to sharing our stories, it's really important that we choose safe and aligned people. And ideally, being in a group of folks is really lovely and wonderful, but just sharing with even one other person can be helpful. And so this could be a therapist that you know supports your spiritual path. For me, I was very blessed early on in recovery that I was seeing a therapist that I'd been seeing for a number of years that really respected and honored the path of the witch that I was on. So much so to the point that when I would get into these bouts of chaos or confusion, or I'd feel overwhelmed, she would ask me, "Have you pulled any tarot cards on that? Have you done any spells? Is there any work that you can do with your ancestors on this?" She knew my spiritual path. She chose to try to understand it. And in that, she created this really beautiful, safe space for me to do my healing in. This could also be a recovery ally, right? Someone who has already walked the path before you. So maybe you do meet someone in a 12-step program that's willing to understand and accept that you are a witch. Maybe it's a friend that you know that is also in recovery and just knows and understands who you are, right? This is a recovery ally, someone that has walked that path, that is willing to have that safe space for you to just be who you are on this journey. And of course, if you can find a coven of recovering witches, what a beautiful thing. And yes, we do have gatherings of recovering witches that you could always join. I would love that. The reality is that being seen and supported is where we get the most help in integrating our own shadows. There's a lot of beauty and truth in knowing that we're not crazy, right? That the things that we're experiencing, the feelings of having visions, of having connections, of hearing people's thoughts, of being impacted by walking to a room, by feeling like I've tried everything, but there's just something not sticking. And it could be because the work you need to do is ancestral work. The work that you need to do is deep inner child work. The work that you need to do is generational work. The work is something from a past life. So being seen by individuals that not just respect, but also know and understand your journey and know and understand your practice is a very potent way to help you integrate your shadow. Now, how is this different than the traditional, right? The traditional fifth step says that we are going to admit to our wrongdoings to someone else. right? Our higher power, a sponsor, a friend, right? But the reality is not all of us have that are in recovery have done things that are wrong, right? Yes, we may have done things that we feel guilty about, that we feel shameful about, that we may have experiences of low self-esteem, low self-worth. So it's not about admitting these wrongdoings, but rather no longer partaking in the active practice of staying in the pain and suffering that you've been enduring, right? Connecting with other individuals that both respect, know, and understand your path as a witch, right? So that you can share these things, so that you can release them, so that you can have someone else witness the work that you're doing, the powerful work that you're doing. The tool, forgot to change that. This is step 5. We should go in right now and change it, right? The tool that I'm going to give you is to journal. Just this real simple question. Who feels safe to receive your story, right? Who around you will not cast judgment and will lovingly hold up a mirror for you, right? And that's because this is shadow work, not shame work. So you should never feel as though you're in a space that you have to hesitate to speak your own truth, your own reality, right? And if you don't, if you like literally sit down and write this and journal this and still do not feel as though you have a very specific safe space to do this, to be your own witchy self, then I would strongly encourage you to come find us in the recovery circle. We will be that for you. Which moves us into step 6. Again, you don't have to take these in a linear line. This could be something maybe you do step 5 to start, and then you go back to step 3, or you go back to step 2, right? We give them in an order for those of us that tend to like that order over chaos. I know I'm a little bit like that. But step 6, invoking magic for liberation. I am ready to call upon my inner and outer magic to release the past, step forward into my life's highest purpose. I do this by weaving rituals and intentions that empower me to vibrate in alignment with my truth, right? As a witch, my dear friends, magic creates your alchemical transformation. As you begin to recognize your shadows, you can begin to create spells and rituals that transmute those that do not serve you, or even help to integrate those that do, right? We're witches, my dear friends. We get to create magic. We get to embrace magic. We get to do the things that make us a witch. You can pick one or all of these, and I'll give you a kind of a brief understanding of what the difference is. A spell or spell work is a prescribed set of actions that you're going to take in order to set and release an intention into the world, right? So a self-love spell, maybe doing it on a Friday with a pink candle and a mirror and talking beautiful intentions to yourself of how much you love yourself, right? And allowing that candle to burn down and maybe even blessing some perfume during that you can now wear, right? That's a spell. A ritual would be taking that perfume that you put those intentions in and using it every single day. As you wake up in the morning and you get ready for your day, calling upon the power that was set in that particular perfume and reminding yourself of the intentions of that self-love. You might choose to do lunar magic, right? Looking at the actual waxing and waning of the moon. And as that new moon comes in, doing work around bringing things, into kind of the darkness, allowing it to manifest and bringing it back into the light, using the light to be able to reflect and give gratitude and thanks. You might even choose to do deity or angel or work with some kind of elemental or etheric being, right? You could pick one or you could pick all of these, right? As a witch, we get to start doing this work in order to create the alchemical transformations that we want within ourselves. One of the universal laws is as within, so without. So as we begin to bring about those changes within ourselves, step into, stay on, and continue to blossom through our own recovery, we will start to realize that the world around us changes for the better. All right. How is this different from the traditional six step? The path of the witch takes your power back. We do not ask God to remove these defects. We use magic to do so. Because the reality is some of these things that other individuals may recognize or identify as a defect may not be. It may have done service for us at some point. It may still continue to do service for us, right? We get to use magic, not God, not a higher power, magic to bring about these changes in our lives. A tool. I'd encourage you, and if you feel comfortable working with the deity, this is my tool tip for you on step 6. Do some research on the planetary deity of Saturn. He is all around discipline and structure, and there may be other deities that you could work with. There may be archangels that are very similar. Oh, Zadkiel, I think, is the archangel associated with Saturn. He lended some incredible support to me during my early parts of recovery, and he can be used and beneficial anytime you're trying to work on any type of major transformation. So whenever I need discipline, right, in order to take actions towards change, right, magic is not just the intention, it is also the work, the will and the work, right? We have to will it and we have to work it, right? So he is incredible in ensuring, and that's literally all he ever wants to see is that you're taking the actions that you anticipate. All right. I'd like for us to say this together. I release what weighs me down. I rise with my magic intact. I am supported. I am becoming the powerful witch I am meant to be. Yeah. And you may even want to just say, I am the powerful witch I am meant to be. So that's our step 5 and our step 6 in the witch's path to recovery, my dear friends. And I leave this, I say this every single time. Recovery as a witch, it's just different. It's just different, right? You get to choose your recovery path, and if you choose to embrace magic, witchcraft, psychic abilities, divination, spell work, deities, service in your path to recovery, then you're recovering as a witch. I'd encourage you to join us again next month, where we will once again dive deeper into the recovery tools created specifically for a witch. We'll see. I might go right into 7 and 8, or I might pick up some other tool. I don't know. I kind of let spirit guide me as that time comes. And if you are ready for some more, because the reality is, this is not it. It's not just these steps, it's not just these webinars. You can go ahead and download the Sober Witch Life mobile app. So just visit soberwitch.life. It's the only recovery app made for witches by witches. It's home of the free Sober Witches Toolkit. You'll see the links to be able to sign up for the weekly recovery circles and a lot of other really terrific and phenomenal resources. And if that's not enough for you, We are now accepting applications for you or whoever it is that you may know to come join us at the Awakening Hope Retreat in New Orleans next March, March 19th to 23rd. We are going to be performing the 13th step, which is to conduct ritual to heal the world from addiction. I hope you are one of those individuals that's going to join a whole coven of witches there in New Orleans, creating some magic to do some good in this world. So until next time, my dear friends, much love from me to all of you.